These are the 7 most common mistakes sellers make when trying to close the deal and what to do instead. Number 1, they are attached to the outcome of the sale. This is all about mindset. Because they are attached to the outcome of the sale, closing the deal, that impacts their interactions with the potential buyer throughout the entire sales process. The language they use, how they conduct themselves on a demo, how they run their proof of concepts, how they're handling the closing conversation, how they handle sales objections. Everything they do is influenced by this mindset. I need to close this deal at all costs. The rep cares far more about their commission check hitting their quota than the prospect's experience throughout that sales process, which is a great segue to mistake number 2. They are trying to sell to a company that isn't a fit for their product or service. When they're sitting down to meet with a prospect, they believe that their product or service is the right fit, and this is a qualified opportunity. Disqualification does not have any part in this salesperson's process. They don't think disqualifying is good business. You could only successfully sell to a company where your product or service can solve a problem or fulfill a need. If it can't solve a problem or fulfill a need, there's no chance you're gonna ethically close that deal. Disqualifying is good business. The 3rd mistake sellers make when trying to close the deal is they bash the competition. Talking bad about the competition is bad business. It weakens the trust between you, the seller, and the buyer. I don't care how bad that competitor is. They might be the worst ranked competitor on G2 right now. They suck, and your product is so much better. The minute you start bashing that competitor on that sales call, the chance you have to close that deal significantly drops. Let's face it, if you are meeting with a prospect, chances are high this prospect is doing their homework and meeting with your competitors. Maybe they had a couple meetings set up before your meeting or a couple meetings set up after. What I like to do on my first call, that first sales discovery and demo call with the prospect, I like to proactively bring up the competition. I'll say, Chris, because you're meeting with us, I think the chances are pretty high that you're probably meeting with a few other MDMs in this space. Based on what you're looking to accomplish with this project, your problems, and your specific use cases, you mind if I make a few recommendations of some other MDMs that I think might be a good fit, and I could share the major differences between Mass 360 and those other MDMs? I'm not bashing the competition. In fact, I'm making recommendations to this prospect based on what I know about them, what they're looking to accomplish with the project, based on our discovery conversation. I'm being a true consultative seller. I'm not attached to the outcome of this opportunity. I'm only attached to this prospect having the right experience. If the right experience is to move forward with my product, great. If not, no worries, we can move on. But the minute you stop bashing the competition and you realize that, hey, if the competition is a better fit here, I might want to make a recommendation, that's going to build trust with the buyer. As you build trust with a buyer throughout the sales process, your chances of closing that deal also increases. The 4th mistake is the seller is either too passive in their approach or too aggressive in their approach. Forcing a buyer to make a decision right now, that's never going to work. On the other side of the spectrum, not asking for the sale, using wishy-washy language, that doesn't work as well because it shows a lack of confidence in your product or service. If you feel you did your job, you found a problem, you explained and showed how your product or service can solve the problem, you verified you are the right option for the prospect, you are a good fit. If you feel you did your job, go for the sale. Ask for the sale. Would you be opposed to moving forward today? That is my closing line. It's one of the best closing lines there is out there. Start using that today and watch your close rate increase. The 5th mistake the seller might make is they're not aligned with the prospect's timeline. The salesperson's timeline is right now. In fact, the salesperson's timeline was yesterday. I needed this deal yesterday for me to hit my quota. The prospect's timeline is their timeline, and their timeline is impacted by a whole slew of factors. Maybe they have an early termination fee with their current vendor that you're trying to unseat. Maybe they have budget constraints. Whatever that is, there's so many factors impacting their timeline that will impact your chance to close close the deal. Here's the question you need to ask. This is a must ask. You need to ask at the end of your first sales discovery call with the prospect to make sure you, the salesperson, are aligned with the prospect's timeline. Kristen, I want to make sure I match your urgency with this project. When is the absolute latest you would want this implemented? Of course, if we are the vendor of choice. That question right there, it's so simple. I want to match your urgency. So simple, but so important. Now I know how to forecast my deal. So when I go into Salesforce, all of my deals are accurately forecasted for my sales manager to review. I'm aligned with timeline, and I'm not going to get caught off guard on the closing call when I go in for the sale. Would you be opposed to moving forward? Yes, we are opposed to moving forward because we have a budget constraint. I'm not going to be caught off guard with objections like that. Mistake number 6, you are speaking to the wrong person. You are speaking to somebody who doesn't have the authority to sign on the dotted line. Nothing is worse when you're working a deal for 6 months, 8 months, you get to the closing call, you ask for the deal, and the prospect comes back and says, hey Matt, I gotta bring this to my boss first. What you do to prevent that from happening on that first discovery call, this simple question will uncover what the buying process looks like and who might be involved. Kristen, can you walk me through the last time you purchased technology like this? What did the process look like internally to make a definitive decision to buy? That question will uncover who might be involved in the decision-making criteria. And for deals now, guys, it's typically 7+ people. 7+ people are part of that decision-making criteria. So if you're only meeting with one person, and we're gonna make videos about this in the future, you need to start multi-threading those other 7 people into your conversations so you're not caught off guard when you go for the close. And mistake number 7, this is a big one, guys, selling after the close. You just did a great job, successfully closed the customer. You keep selling, which number 1, overwhelms the buyer, and number 2, will potentially undo that sale, which we don't want that to happen. When you close the deal, stop talking and make sure it successfully gets across the finish line. You could always go for upsell opportunities months down the line when they're having some success with your product or service. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I have made all 7 of these mistakes. And I still make some of these mistakes now, but I've made all 7 of these mistakes numerous times throughout my career. I want to make sure you're learning from my biggest 7 mistakes that I have made. If you can avoid these, you're going to have a tremendous close rate, hit your quota, win those trips, those President's Clubs, and make a ton of money. If you want more closing help, I did develop a step-by-step guide. It's the ultimate guide to running sales discovery and demo conversations that close at a 40% clip. It is in the description below. Definitely check that out. It will help you out. Word tracks, templates, all action, no fluff. You know how we do it on this channel. And check out these 2 videos right here, guys. Other videos on how to increase your close rate. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it.